Hello everyone, I'm Jeong-Cheol. Linux cluster on CentOS 7, Chapter 18, Database Cluster with MariaDB. Main topics in this chapter. This chapter will cover two topics, MariaDB cluster introduction, and second, MariaDB cluster configuration process with 7 steps. MariaDB cluster introduction, as you know, up to CentOS 6.5, we use the MySQL as a main RDBMS, but in CentOS 7, the MariaDB is the main relational database management system. And number 2, to use MariaDB cluster, we need to add multiple database servers, and this kind of database servers interconnect with each other and keep synchronized for cluster service. So in this video, I will focus on cluster service for MariaDB. And for MariaDB cluster service, we need to install this one, MariaDB Galera cluster. This is a synchronous, active and active multi-master cluster of MariaDB database. Using this one, we can keep all load the synchronized. And the MariaDB Galera cluster provide the, I already told you, synchronous replication to be always highly available. We need to install some packages, especially this one, Galera. Galera means multi-master replication provide. Using this one, no data loss when one of the node crashes, and data replicate are always consistent to another cluster node. If we install this one, Galera cluster, we can find this kind of terms, WSREF. It means right set replication. Using WSREF, suitable for synchronous and asynchronous and master slave and multi-master replication. So for our purpose, we will install this kind of packages. MariaDB cluster lab environment. In my case, I will use this kind of environment. So 3 cluster nodes, node 4, node 5, and node 6. And this one has this kind of IP address 10.1.1.12, 10.1.1.13, and 10.1.1.14. And this kind of cluster has a name. In my case, I will use this one, Larispear. For this kind of the cluster lab, we need to prepare for this kind of firewall directory. For example, daemon, second data directory, socket, process file, and configuration file. For daemon, we will use this one, MySQLD. And this one we can find here, USR library exec. Data directory, I will use this directory, MySQL. This one we can find here, var/library. Socket, mysql.sock. This is the socket name. And this one also we can find here, var/library/mysql. Process file, if we start this one, we can find this process name, mariadb.pid, where here, var run/mariadb. Configure main, even if there are several the configuration file, normally we will use this file, galera.cnf, where here, etc/my.cnf.d. So using this kind of the environment, I will show you how to implement MariaDB cluster. MariaDB Galera configuration process, I already told you there are 7 steps. Step 1, MariaDB Galera cluster with the 3 servers. I already told you I will use the 3 MariaDB cluster servers. Step 2, install MariaDB and Galera on cluster nodes. The step 3, firewall configuration for MariaDB. Step 4, start initial MariaDB configuration on cluster node. Step 5, set up cluster configuration on node 4. Step 6, set up cluster configuration on the other cluster node, like node 5 and node 6. Step 7, the last step, we will test MariaDB Galera cluster. Okay, MariaDB Galera cluster configuration. Step 1, I already told you MariaDB Galera cluster with the 3 servers where before we start this kind of configuration, you have to check this one, etc host. Here, I will use this kind of information, node 4, node 5, and node 6. And this one has this kind of IP address, 10.1.12, 13, and 14. And this kind of cluster node, their own host name, in my case, node 04, node 05, node 06. Step 2, install MariaDB and Galera, these packages on cluster node. So if we are using the MySQL, you have to delete, okay, this one MySQL server, remove using Yum. And after that, we will install this kind of package MariaDB, MariaDB Galera server, and the MariaDB Galera command and Galera. Before we install this kind of package, you have to check this one, EPEL. So EPEL, this one will supply mirroring site to install this kind of packages. So you need to install this package first. And after that, if you are successful to install this kind of package, then you can check MariaDB like this. Step 3, firewall configuration for MariaDB. In CentOS 7, the firewall command are a bit different. So first one, add MariaDB service using this kind of command. Firewall cmd add service MySQL. Even if we install MariaDB, but the service name is from MySQL. And also this one rsync-d. MariaDB for state transfer, they will use rsync. Step 2, step firewall service. If you don't want to use this kind of service, then you can start the firewall service using this kind of command. systemctl start firewall daemon. And later, also if you don't want the firewall, then disable. Step 4, start initial the MariaDB configuration on all the cluster nodes. First one, start MariaDB service. After you install, try to start using this command, systemctl start MariaDB, and enable MariaDB. This service will be the enable, and the default installation MySQL secure installation. And check first the connection. If we are successful to start this kind of MariaDB, then you can log into database MySQL, and you can use this command show database. Then this one will show the basic database from MariaDB. 3, check the process and port. If we are successful to use this kind of command, then check process first here, MySQL, and port number. MariaDB also will use 3306. And after that, we need to stop this service, systemctl stop MariaDB. Step 5, the most important part here, set up cluster configuration on node 4. At first time, I will configure the MariaDB on cluster node number 4. Especially this will open Galera CNF. Here, you can find the default configuration like this one, InnoDB as a default storage engine, and the InnoDB double write. Okay, you need to add this one. Also, WSB RFP provider. If you install the Galera package, then you can find this kind of library. So change like this. And the cluster address here, the group communication. In my case, I already told you use this kind of IP address, 12, 13, and 14. And the cluster name, in my case, knowledge PR. And in case of node 4 has this IP address 10.1.1.12, and the node name node 04. And SSD method will use rsync. In case of node 5 and 6, only you need to change this one, okay? IP address and host name. And after that testing, USR library exec, I told you MySQL daemon, WSRFP new cluster. And if we are working this one as a root, then we need to add this option, user root, and after that ampersand, it means start this one as a background. And after that, MySQL-E show status like WSRP. Then you will see many kinds of the output. Especially among this kind of output, you need to check, okay, this one. Since D, meaning the synchronize, and the incoming address, it means this the MariaDB IP address and port number, and here cluster size, it means this is a cluster service, and node only one because node 4 is a first database to start as a clustering service. So number 1, WSRP ready on. Step 6, set up cluster configuration on node 5 and node 6. Node 5 and node 6 also need to configure, okay, this file, Galera CNF. So in this case, we need to copy only this file from node 4 to node 5 and node 6. In my case, I will use this SCP, okay, this file and this file to node 5 and node 6 directory, etc my.cnf.d. And after that, start MariaDB node 5 also only change this one. I will tell you IP address this one 10.1.13 and host name node 05. And after that, start, okay, like this systemctl start MariaDB. Also, we need to check some the messages using this one show states like WSP. Then the other message will be same to node 4, but this one WSRP cluster size 2 because node 4 is the first and node 5 is the second. Node 6 as well, same, only change IP address, cluster node name, start, and also this one too. This one will be number 3 because we are creating and consisting of the cluster service with 3 MariaDB servers. Step 7, test MariaDB Galera cluster setup. So after you start MariaDB, please check the log file on each cluster node like this. var log MariaDB log. Then you have to check this kind of message. Synchronize with the group ready for connections. And after that, for the testing, create database on node 4 like this. After login to MariaDB, then create the database for the testing cluster plus privileges exit. Then node 5 and node 6 also must see this kind of new database using this command show databases. Then we are successful to consist of MariaDB Galera cluster service. Now in my case, I prefer 4, I already told you, 3 cluster node, node 4, node 5, and node 6 like this. In case of node 5 and node 6, already I install all cluster MariaDB cluster packages, but node 4 not yet. So at first, step 1, 3 servers in etc host. So please check, okay. In my case, I already install like using this, okay, node 4, node 5, and node 6 with this kind of IP address. Step 2, install MariaDB and Galera on all cluster nodes. I already told you. So at first time, let's check the MySQL. So in my case, I don't have any MySQL packages. And the second, please check EPEL. Okay, in my case, I already installed this one, okay? EPEL release 7, no architectures. So you need to install this package first before we install MariaDB packages. Now I'm ready to install MariaDB and MariaDB Galera server, MariaDB Galera command, and Galera like that. Yes. Okay, in my case, this one Galera or Galera servers normally repository here, okay, by EPEL. So I will tell you, you need to install this package first. Okay, now I'm successful to install MariaDB packages. Let's check. Okay, in my case, I installed MariaDB, Galera Server, Galera, and Galera as well. Okay, I already installed like this. Step 3, Firewall configuration for MariaDB. So let's check first. So in my case here, started the firewall. So in this case, we can use like this. But in my case, CTL, I will start firewall daemon for the testing. Now I finished step 3. Now step 4, start initial MariaDB configuration. So now let's try to start the MariaDB. Okay, now I'm successful to start the MariaDB. So, and after that, MySQL secure installation. So, current password followed enter, set root version not yet, and the remove anonymous users yes, and the disallow root login remotely no, and the remove test database no, and the reload privilege tables okay yes, okay, and after that. Okay, then, so if we are successful to install and start MariaDB, then you can see this kind of the default, the databases, information schema, MySQL, and performance test like this. Okay, and after that, so if we are successful to start the MariaDB, then you can see this kind of the process. Okay, here MySQL is safe, and the MySQL daemon, base directory, VAL library MySQL, and the plugin and the other information, and WSRP start as well. And let's check the port as well. Okay, you can find this one. This port is so open for the service. And after that, now I start MariaDB service. Step 5, the setup cluster configuration on node 04. So let's go. Okay, in this directory, here we can find this kind of file. In my case, I will use or edit this file, but before I already configure this one. So I will change this one. Conf rpm save Galera CNF, okay, yes, and after that I will open. Then here I already told you at first time here WSP provider, if you are successful to install the Galera, then you can find the library. The cluster name I told you knowledge peer, and the address here group communication, in my case node 04, 05, and 06. And this node is node 04 and has IP address like this. And this is the default the configuration. Okay, then write. Also, here you can copy this one to node 5 and 6. So in my case, I will use like this. Node 05 etc password and node 6 as well. Okay, I already copied this file to node 5 and node 06. So now here, let's try to start this using this information. MySQL daemon, and check the log file. If you start the MariaDB, then you have to check, okay, this message. Okay, synchronize with group ready for connections. And here, let's check the process as well. So now this one started with this kind of options. And of that, if we use this command, okay, this one, then you can find the output related to WSREP like this. Especially I told you here, local state the comment since this one incoming address, okay, in my case 10.1.12 and port number, and this one WSP connected on, and this one WRSP cluster size 1, WSP ready on. So now I'm successful to start the MariaDB on cluster node 4. So now let's go to node 5 and node 6 as well. Okay, this one etc my, here let's check Galila, okay, here. And I already told you here we need to change only 2. So first one, node name, here in my case I will change this node 5 and IP address 10.1.13. Okay, the other information is the same. Okay, okay, then system and check the log file also. Okay, now they're started. Let's check the process. So we can see the daemon and the other information as well. And if you see this log file, okay, here MariaDB, then we can find synchronize with group ready for connections. And node 6 as well. Also, we need to change the node address and the node name. Okay, in my case, I will use node 6 and IP address node 10.1.1.14. Okay, ctl start MariaDB and check also log. Okay, here we can find synchronize with the group ready for connections. So now this will also start, okay, like this, MySQL. So we can find this kind of daemon. In node 4, now we can find, okay, node the 6 state transfer from node 5 and complete. So node 6 and node 5 also member of this cluster service, and they are this kind of service now, so transferring this kind of data each others. So for the testing, okay, here let's try to access and show the. So we have only the default MySQL performance test like this, and the node 5 as well, MySQL show data. Okay, it's the same, and node 6 as well, MySQL. Okay, it's a default, and this kind of data normally we can find here. Okay, here normally MySQL socket performance the schema and test like this. Okay, for the testing here, let's try to create the new database in my case, cluster, show data. So we can find the cluster here, new database, and here in this directory we can find, okay, we found new database cluster. And let's check the node 5 and 6, show data. Okay, we can find, okay, this one, cluster. This new database replicated to another cluster node as well, and node 6 as well. Okay, you can find the cluster like this. And check also we can find new database directory here. And the node 5 and node 6 as well. Let's check this one, MySQL hyphen, and this one will tell you it's the same, say, status like okay. So now we can find here WSRP cluster size is 3 because I already told you there are 3 cluster members. Okay, state, comment, and incoming address 13, 14, and 12. And node 6 as well will be the same. Okay, also now cluster size 3 and incoming address 13, 14, and 12. So, okay, this one too. Okay, so far I show you MariaDB Galera cluster service with 3 cluster nodes. So now if I create the new database or table in node 4, and this data will be replicated to node 5 and node 6 together, because these 3 MariaDB services consist of one cluster. Even if node 4 is shut down or cannot supply this service, but the node 5 and node 6 will supply this database service to client. So far, I show you how to use and configure MariaDB Galera cluster. Chapter 18 summary number 1. What is MariaDB Galera cluster? And number 2. Which packages do we need to install to use MariaDB cluster? And number 3. What is the main configuration file for MariaDB cluster? Number 4. How can we start MariaDB cluster service? And number 5, how can we know if MariaDB cluster is running with cluster members? Especially, I will tell you 2 kind of things. Number 6, what does Galera provide? Thank you for watching this video. God bless you. So far, I completed Linux cluster on CentOS 6 and 7. See you in next course.